All right. What's up, beautiful people? A little bit of awakening with Jonathan Goldman. It's a gold day. It's a gold moment with Ivan Rados. We're recording here. Any interruptions, I'll make sure I keep it organized. Feel a little bit about that Merkaba meditation music in the background from my morning. A little bit of the future is bright from within, without. And welcome, Ivan. I'd like to introduce some nice frequency of energy, bring a little bit of, the last moments of the day into the next moments. And that's how I live with totality, getting blissed out with beautiful humans in the community. And you're definitely one that I know. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
And I'm being beautiful. So all is good. All is good.
Yeah. Well, audience, I know if you're checking out on BlisstOut Network, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Conscious Living Network, if you're seeing this in Unite, Ivan's a good friend that I met through my beautiful brother, Andrew Resmer, at a couple Conscious Living events. My personal experience with Ivan, very powerful reader, could see right through me, could see things that I probably needed to heal in a very short time. And we had a wonderful magnetic connection in divine brother and sisterhood from the beginning of meeting. So now we're, we talked about doing this a while back, and we kind of come into a place of creation where we're both needing to reflect what we're learning. And I want to learn more what Ivan's up to, what he's doing with his wonderful works in the community. And the topic of today will be about, what do you see? Something coming from Ivan. I want to hear more about, your story, where you're from, Ivan. Tell us a little bit about that. And then we'll go into what you see. So where are you from? You're in Polish background?
No. I was born in former Yugoslavia, actually middle part, which is Bosnia, and a little town called Travnik. And I was raised by, call it, dysfunctional parents. My father was alcoholic and very prominent figure in the town, and my mother was a devoted Catholic. And interesting part of it, it's that kind of Orthodox Catholicism, which is linked with the Jesuits. And there is a huge, big gymnasium. I mean, sort of like a college for Jesuits, and they were trained and indoctrinated to, take the, leading positions in power and dominance over humanity, and controlling and manipulating. So, but they were so cruel with no emotions. And one student, he was 18, 19-year-old, called Peter Barbarich. He becomes saint later on. Vatican gave him sainthood. And his sainthood was just suffering from tuberculosis and praying for Jesus and having images in this nightmare of dying. And later on, when they buried him, some miracles start happening, people experiencing all kinds of visions, and they changed somehow, through beliefs, and maybe there was some power, I don't know. But the tradition of those Orthodox Catholics would inflict suffering into themselves. So my mother would go around the grave of that Saint Peter Barbarich in her bare knees on the sharp stones for hours and hours, and come back bleeding and not being able to walk for a couple of days, while my father would be in some, drinking somewhere for 10 days and coming back, and the conflict and struggle. And my mother will express all her frustration into us, me and my little sister, and beating us every day. So, I mean, just giving you a picture of that environment, and also socialist country, communist country, you know, you can talk about very sensitive stuff. You can joke about Tito system, this or that. You know, you have to, you know, confirm and fit into certain rules and, you know, expectations from the communistic, that kind of dominant point of view. So, but you know, since I was young, I realized that, you know, it's not real. You know, my father and mother and everything that I found myself in as a young kid, there's something that I have to find a way out. I have to find out it's not real. It's not real. You know. So anyway, but you know, the good part of this system was that, you know, at least we were free to wander around. You know, plenty of land, plenty of spaces, plenty of things to explore in nature. So I would just come from the school, which I was not learning anything, actually. I was always drawing geometry, triangles, squares, circles, aliens, crafts, and all of that. You know, at one point, you know, my teacher, art teacher, funny enough, I become artist later on. So my teacher, art teacher, called my mom and said, there is psychologically wrong with your kid something. Because I painted the, you know, black sun and some structures there that are really alien in nature. And I was just expressing my own dreams and visions as a kid. So anyway, so I would come home from the school and just go in nature and spend time just exploring my own self, exploring my own creativity. You know, while I was exploring my creativity in the school on my own way, educating myself, drawing out my own consciousness. At the same time, I was expressing that consciousness in the wilderness. So I reached age, I think 16, and I watched some TV program and some theater, local theater, you know, was performing the recorded, you know, theater show. And I said, I want to be an actor. I have to join, and it's local theater. So I approached, and they said, yeah, why not just come in, start with cleaning and moving equipment around, and you'll see. There you go. And slowly I become an actor and had traveled around the world with my theater and on my own, because I had my own one-man show appearing in TVs. And also I went to university, studied arts, and I dropped, said, that's not for me. You know, I'm going to go my own way. So I was exploring my own soul through my mind, on the canvas and paper, exhibiting around. And at one point, I felt that there is a need to go out because something is going to happen to the country. So, and I organized one exhibition in Belgrade and persuaded my wife, girlfriend at that time, to come for an exhibition. And she came, and the war started 2 days later. And then found my way to England and got accepted in one huge big community called Dinclave, Halifax. And then, you know, exhibiting around, exploring my wild mind and emotions, dropping my painting, destroying everything, going into the process, deep process. I call it Tantra, spiritual process. I had a studio and I could do whatever I wanted, you know. So for 10 years, I've been doing that. Diving into my own psyche, diving into my own shit, and exhibiting around, you know. So I had around.
When was the year that you came to? When then you left? When did you leave?
92
1992
until 1992 until 2000, and then I went to exhibition. It's like International Art Performance Festival in Cleveland, Ohio. I was doing some crazy performance, I was carrying a huge, big red star, 3 meters by 3 meters, painted red on my naked body, painted white, through the streets of Cleveland, Ohio, followed by the 300 people, crowd of 300 people. And I had some kind of self-sacrifice ritual, sacrifice myself on that red star, which represents that kind of domination and bullshit that we all are, suffocating from at the moment and before and in the future, if we allow this and if we permit this. So that sacrifice was meant to be birth of new age in a way, artistic act. And later police came, 20 policemen, and they surrounded me and the crowd, and they said, "Are you the Ivan?" I said, "Yes, I am the Ivan." I was naked, white, painted white. He said, "Oh, my wife is somewhere here." And she called me, she said, "You have we would like a picture with you." So I had a picture with 20 policemen in Ohio, Cleveland, and me standing in the middle, naked, white. Yeah. So, and then I came to Canada, visit the country because my wife's brother, moved and foreign country. It's like beautiful country. That's the place I'm gonna move. So moved from England to Canada and start doing healing and start doing practicing meditation, teaching meditation, doing workshops on distance healing, yantra, mandala, mantra, yoga, tantra, zen, traveling around, having a group of people who followed me and published the books of my talks. And now I'm at a moment where, I'm sort of like completing my journey with the introduction of psychedelics. So I went to Peru 3 years ago. I had a call. Well, let's go back a little bit. I was doing healing for 6 years, almost full time, just distance healing, one-to-one healing, energy healing, not particular model, because you can't find any model for healing. I mean, we are all different. We all vibrate different vibrations. So you, as an individual and as a whole, you have to have this approach.
Did this
listen
just
and
happen
come
naturally for
intuitive.
you? This come out naturally? Yeah. Like, when did that start? Like, when you went through all your trauma as a child, and then you started to realize you're painting things from your higher self. When did you really start the yoga and all this other types of meditation? Naturally, or was it taught to you?
I remember my principal in school. I was grade 3, 4. I can't remember. It's very young. Calling my mother, and my mother beating me for people, to healing my kids. Compassionately, empathetically, more empathetically than compassionately, because I could not figure out what was happening. Someone being in pain, I would just approach and, just put my hand where I intuitively feel that there's, and pain will disappear, kids will go and they're all happy and joyful again. Someone having a tooth pain and a stomach problem, whatever, being hurt, being wounded, that kind of, natural tendency to help, but not knowing what I'm offering and not knowing what's happening, but just kind of unknown happening through me in that unconscious way. So later on, I become conscious of it, and then I start using and playing with it and discovering so many ways how to, guide the energy in order for the other person to really tap in and heal itself. It's not me who is doing the healing. It is me who is recognizing something and, holding a space for the healing to happen. But you need to be in perfect meditative state in order for that energy transfer to happen from the wholeness to you and from you to the wholeness. So yeah, I was doing healing for 6 years, and then I realized I came to my wife, and I realized, hey, honey, I'm going to stop all of it because my ego is becoming big. So I just have to drop everything and start from scratch. He said, what you're going to do? I said, I don't know. Maybe cleaning houses. I don't know. So my brother-in-law was a manager at some building in Burnaby. So, and I asked, can I clean the buildings? So I was mopping the buildings and enjoying my no mind state and being in meditation and just getting some money, paying bills, not having any desires, then just go day by day, the moment by moment. And at one point I had a call to go to Peru. So I went to Peru and 8 ayahuasca sessions with shaman in the middle of Iquitos, in the middle of jungle. The only way to come there was by plane or by the long journey through Amazon. So I was there in the middle of jungle and with frogs and rain and monkeys. And I had a vision, and my vision is just to run ceremonies and finally come to myself, stop bullshitting and journeying. It's enough. You got enough of understanding. Now is the time to start understanding who is the one who is trying to understand. And at that point, I had to say, yes, thank you. And came home and my beloved Lana, she's psychotherapist, psychologist and clinical psychologist and psychotherapist working in private practice here for, altogether 30 and so years. And in Vancouver, having her own way of healing and helping. And I was doing my own way. She's more scientific. I was more like, call it spiritual, but more like illogical. She was more logical, illogical. And we had our own issues because of this dynamic, between heart and mind and all of that, love and meditation and all of that. So I said, honey, we are going to run ceremonies. She said, no way. I'm not, I had experience with it. My experience was when we were almost ready to divorce. That was with Andrew, actually. It was a connection to, it was, 13 years ago, even more than that, in Vancouver, somewhere in some dungeon or somewhere. I really can't remember. It was foggy now. So we were ready to divorce. And I said, hey, honey, let's go for ayahuasca as a last goodbye. She said, yes. And we stayed together, so thanks to Spirit Plant. So, and she said, no. And 2 months later, I had another call to go to Colombia. So Vita Juanito, to work there with Yahe. And that was when you shit yourself, when you purge and shit yourself. And it's like, and you see in your shit the universe, you see your ego, you see your beauty, you see everything there. And you say thank you. And you say thank you. Absolutely thank you. Thank you to my past. Thank you to my future. Thank you to my bullshit. Thank you to my miserable bastard who has been doing all kinds of nasty things to itself and other people. Thank you. Now you are just coming home. And so anyway, in that, the same was there, Actually, by the way, I came there to kill my ego as well. And unfortunately, I was surrounded by people asking me questions of whatever questions, I was actually helping them to set up intention for the ceremonies or to integrate after the ceremony, all this, to renegotiate with the mind, the new reality they want to establish. And I said, fuck, I came here to kill my ego. And funny enough, just a couple of months before that, I helped someone with my intuitive vision. Someone came from some very famous place somewhere in South America, running ceremonies. They said, you are going to be there with some guy. You have to be there. It's a soul mission. It's like, oh, Ivan, I cannot do it. I mean, I know the guy, but there's nothing that's going to happen because I love someone else. I said, yes, honey. It's like, we're going to see. So they got together by the divine intervention. And she said, yeah, Ivan predicted that you're going to be together. And he was very famous. He was a friend with the Teta Juanito, who runs ceremony in Colombia. And he sent a message to Teta, give blessing to my brother. He's there at the ceremony. And while my ego was just like, oh man, I came here to kill my ego. Oh, my wife is calling. Just have to say, honey, I'm not gonna answer. Okay.
That's okay.
So he said, give him blessing. Sorry about it. Give him blessing. So in the middle of ceremony with the Teta Juanito and 20 other shamans and healers and 30 helpers and angels, it's a huge big crowd of 100 people. And he said, oh, Teta Juanito wants you to sit in the middle of room, and he's gonna give you blessing. I didn't know anything about that. It's like, I'm here to kill it's like, sit there and he's gonna do the blessing and the healing. And everyone was doing healing just on me while everyone was watching that. It's like, what a special guy. It's fuck. I went into ayahuasca, and had a vision. 5 guys, cosmic shamans from different planes of existence. 5 is the number of human. 5 is the 5 elements coming down, kneeling in front of me as I'm sitting like a huge big god. And I said, fuck this. And came back out of it, and I was sharing in the circle around, in the integration with other people. And Teta Juanito said, why don't you just go back home, Ivan? Just stop bullshitting yourself. Go there and start running those ceremonies. I came home, said to my wife, and she said, yeah, let's do it. So we've been doing this for almost 3 years, integrating her psychotherapeutic, knowledge and experience about traumas, difficulties, hardship. People suffer mental, emotional, even physical. And my weird, illogical, crazy, access to the realm of unknown, knowing, I don't know, but that's what I know. And I just share truthfully, and whoever catches and link with and resonate, it's thank you. And thank you, even if you don't, thank you. It's my way just to express. So linking all that with the portal, which is psychedelic portal. See, you bypass the mind and then you dive into deep realm of, inner self, where you elevate and certain elements of the equation, of your story, or totally deleting all the stories that you accumulated, that kind of attachments of past issues and who you are, what reality is, and the suffering and all the assumptions and beliefs, and diving into real and connecting to yourself and healing yourself. And that's the final. You asked me to start from where I was born. So
I love it.
I'm born again.
When I met you, when I met you at Andrew's house too, I'm also, parts of me, I just share. The thing is, when we share with the community, while you're watching this amazing thing, you can always backtrack and go back into the little aspects of all of the nuggets of information that Ivan's bringing. Because if you're on your journey and you're just in, the unconscious state to come to understand what is consciousness and how to watch the mind, how to watch the breath, there's a lot involved. And a lot of what Ivan's saying.
You're cutting.
Pardon? Okay, so we had a little interruption. Can you hear me? That's okay. So interruptions are normal. Where I found myself listening to you is just trying to reiterate for an audience that's watching on the beauty of your unconscious state to your conscious state, to the sharing of your divine masculine and feminine that you're doing with your wife, the opportunity to be yourself and to provide services that have grown naturally through you. And I'm sure that you've also studied so that you can confirm what you're learning within yourself. And I've been a witness to that myself personally when I met you. So that's why I wanted to have this heart-to-heart talk. Is I love to encourage more people to connect with conscious awakened beings that can help guide them through their process. And I think that you're such a lovely person, and that's my respect for you as a friend. We were talking about how do you see. I think a lot about what you were saying from your journey up to now is how you got to how, like, what do you see? Because what you saw at the end in becoming more and more into that nothing state, maybe of the sun that you painted black as a child, you know, now as a mature man, you're living and breathing that and helping people to really understand, to overcome their mind and their fears. Tell me a little bit about what you're building on your property, what's going on now with all that, and all these workshops that you're doing with your wife, and where people can get a hold of you.
Oh man, trust me, bombarded me with questions. Let's start from the beginning. Yeah, let's pick one. Yeah, what's happening? What is happening? Really, what is happening?
What do you see?
Do we know?
What do you see?
What do you see?
What do I see?
What do you see, sister?
I see you're very relaxed.
What is your...
You're connected to your higher self. You're present.
Okay, that's about me. But what do you see in general? What do you see? How do you feel about general? How do you feel in this, you know, with this holographic reality? What's your feeling? Where are you with this? What do you see?
I'm seeing I'm in service to allowing people to express their process of enlightenment and consciousness, and holding space for them to talk about it.
So you see, yes, okay.
Yeah.
So you see the opportunity to tell the truth.
Yes.
And in order to tell the truth, you have to be the truth. So this moment right now, this holographic moment that we live in, is that we all have to ask the question, what is real? And while asking the question, what is real, you inevitably ask the question, who am I in this, whether it's real or not? You know, who am I? Who is the one who is experiencing this illusion? Because it is illusion in every sense. You know, it's like, look at the system at the moment. Look where we are at the moment. It seems like total chaos. It seems like, I don't know, there is a division between, you know, it's like huge polarity. I'm not going to talk about it. It's not, I don't want to be political about it, you know, but the situation is the portal being open for the existential question to come into people's mind, that you have to exercise what's real and who am I in this? Who is holding this power? Who is the power? Where's the power? Am I the power? You know, am I giving someone else the power to control me, to rule me, to create a future? Because my choice right now will determine my future. Not just the future tomorrow or 10 years from now, but my life somewhere else in some parallel reality where I'm going to be born in that kind of reality that I set up right now. Because that's where the change of future is. It's not building the dreams and fantasies somewhere else. It's right now, the way you see yourself, the way you define yourself, how you define yourself, and the reality you live will determine your future. Not just this one, but all other futures. Keep this strong and protect that structure, then the future is determined. Change it up, future is flexible. So this is the point where everything is flexible. Everything that you suppress, or the society suppress, humanity generally suppress, is coming out. It's coming out. The truth is coming out. You see, truth is everywhere. Just go and research. Just go wherever, whatever, in science, in medical, in, you know, you see that lots of lies, lots of misinformations, lots of fake news, lots of things that asking you for your permission to submit yourself. They are just asking you for your submission. And then we all submitted to the lies. Now is the time to reveal the truth of who you are, what you attach to, in inner and outer. You know, attachment to the society and the rules and morality codes, and inner for your own shit, your own assumptions and your own beliefs of who you are, what reality is. So we are in this situation where things are really, really creative in a way, but really scary. It can be really scary, but it's liberating, absolutely. And everything is good, absolutely good. We call it divine plan in action, because divine knows exactly where we go and what's happening. But do we know? That's the point. So yeah, that's the answer to that first question. So
the answer to what you see. We have about 4 minutes here. I know our timeline on Zoom today, we only had about 40 minutes. I feel so lucky that we can at least start this journey of talking. I feel you have so much to offer the community and your voice and your experience. And I'd like to actually come out, see what you're building out there too, and maybe do some practice with you so that we can share that together and let people feel that reflection of sharing more energy. Even though as soon as I met you, I already shared energy from the moment I met you. I already knew. There's no need for me to go further, or there's no more. There's a knowing. There's a great knowing. So for me, that's enough. But I also think that life is so beautiful when we dive deeply and we get more vulnerable and we really get naked into the purpose of this humanity is to show each other our essence and to be soulful.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But you see that what I was talking about, the general situation is that we all have to come to our nature, in literal and in spiritual sense. We are part of the nature. So just a year ago, I decided to buy a piece of land, and it's like interior close to Clinton, where I'm going to build my retreat center. So deep dive, so as I was mentioning, ceremonies, so workshops, deep healing, also with the spirit plant medicine and without, so there are so many things we can offer. But being in nature, being on the lake with the water, with the wind, with the trees, with the open sky, and the stars, connecting to that, it's connecting also to your own nature. It's like beautiful blend of outer and inner, where something is going to happen, some kind of divine intervention, and that's the healing. And so we all have to go back to nature, so yes, so that's what I'm building. And also lots of, I'm building Maloka there, small Maloka and Beirut, bigger one for to accommodate 30 people. So you are welcome, sister, and I would like your magic there, your yoga magic, to be present.
Yeah, there's so many wonderful things for me to share, and I'm making it all ready so that I have a practical experience for beginners, intermediate, or advanced. And I think both of us are pretty advanced, so we would meditate a little bit differently than a beginner. But the beauty is to hold space. And so I honor you to hold space with what you're doing and holding space for others and being a part of this great service of the divine will. And I salute you for that. And I can't wait to come up and see you guys. I want to send you a big hug. We'll leave it with a little bit more music. And hopefully this recording is pretty good, because I know we got interrupted. But so much love and light to you. Keep shining and keep breaking through your purpose. Good to be with you.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The cosmic sounds of the Merkaba. Beautiful sound healing. Lots of love to you. Have a fantastic afternoon. Namaste.